Welcome back, guys. Unknown003 here, coming at you with another Killer Instinct character tutorial. And this time we have Mira. So yeah, we got our first vampire of the series. So add that to the list of robots, skeletons, dinosaurs, just a whole wide variety of characters, man. And the list just keeps going once we get further into the season. I mean, shoot, we're almost halfway done now that I think about it. But anyways, so with Mira, she is actually the sister to Maya, and with that, she does have like some familiar things that Maya players will probably recognize. But let's get into it. So yeah, first off, we're gonna go with the normals here. Simple, not too crazy. Each of our medium attack, if I'm not mistaken, is 2 hits. Even in the air, funny enough. But yeah, that's the gist of it. This one may look familiar to the Maya players. And the back heavy punch version of it, very much the same. So like the flurry of attacks, the 4 hits, that should look very familiar. And yeah, like even that, I believe is kind of reminiscent of the daggers that Maya has. But yeah, in terms of the kicks, they're a lot more straightforward, you know, not really gimmicky and stuff like that. But yeah, that's basically the gist of it. Well, at least in terms of like the normals themselves. But yeah, so one of the cool things that Maya can do is that she does have an air dash, as you can see. Yeah, and if you are also paying attention to her health bar, she is essentially losing health the more she uses her kind of like blood attacks, which is important to know, especially if you do plan on using this character, because honestly the biggest thing about her is the whole risk and reward factor with her blood. And so with that, although she does sacrifice her blood depending on like the strength of the move and how often you use it, she does sacrifice the blood for power ultimately. So, and yeah, with that, like she is definitely one of the most damaging characters in the game for that very reason. And with the speed that she does have with a lot of her like mobility stuff, it trades out. But again, you just gotta keep an eye on like that recoverable damage that she does have for like the bite. As you can see here, she gets a pretty decent amount of it back, but the trade-off to that is that she will not be able to damage the opponent during this as well. Even if you were to like shadow version this, for example, it does absolutely no damage. But again, the trade-off is that you get a pretty decent amount of the recoverable damage back. So anyway, let's get into her special moves. So first off is going to be the down back punch. A simple 2-hit attack. The light version isn't really anything special. In fact, this is going to be kind of like motif with all of her special moves, in that the light versions of those moves will not deliver recoverable damage to her. However, once you get into the mediums and the heavies, that's when you're going to kind of notice it, because one, they're either really quick and pretty, they have good distance, but again, you're going to lose recoverable damage for it. So yeah, that's the light version. Medium version of the down back punch is going to be a low. So it's a 2-hit. First hit's a mid, second hit's a low. And the heavy version is going to be mid into overhead. So yeah, you got the mix-up option with her. It's very difficult to kind of tell like what she'll be going for next. But as you can see here, she loses a lot of like recovery damage, as you can see here. So yeah, that's like super important to kind of like think about. You got to pay attention to it, because if you don't, the more you spend the recoverable damage, the more likely you're gonna die for it. So it's super important to keep an eye on it and just bite every now and then. So yeah, heavy or shadow version looks pretty much like that. It is absolutely the most damaging part. Even the linker, if you do like a medium or a heavy, it is going to screw you up, man, at the end of the day. So yeah, let's go ahead and fix the health again. Now that you guys kind of got a gist of how the regenerative health thing kind of works, or the recoverable health, excuse me. So yeah, that's the gist of that. So now, yeah, I'm just gonna show you the kind of like gist of the power. Look at that, man. 70 damn percent for a kind of basic combo that she has. But again, you're trading a ton of your recoverable health for it. So yeah, that's the gist of down back punch. So down forward punch, that's gonna be her projectiles. The light version just summons 3 bats at a straight line, as you would kind of expect. The medium version is actually going to track the person's height and just maintain the line there. And yeah, doesn't again look like anything's too special. Does the same damage, but the heavy version are homemade bats, or homemade homing bats, excuse me. Yeah, and yeah, they do exactly what you think they would. They would just follow the opponent and eventually get to him. Not very damaging, but again, it's like a good mix-up option. It's good for pressure, you name it. And of course, it's good for kind of like staying behind them. That way, if they're throwing fireballs, you're still kind of safe because they'll be absorbing it. So yeah, that's the gist of that. Shadow version doesn't look like anything damaging, right? But it's more for like positioning, if anything. Try to throw your opponent off guard, whether you follow up with a mix-up, you do something like this. Like, the possibilities are endless with Mira, dude, because she can be anywhere at any time, especially when you're locked in place and you can't really, like, find a proper way to punish her while doing it, since, again, you're stuck in the middle of a bat swarm for a moment. So, yeah, that's the gist of that. And in terms of the ender, it is a wall splat ender. So, again, if you are close to a wall, you just use this ender, bam, you get the wall splat. You can follow up with a grab, completely up to you. Or you could just follow up with something like this, of course, where you know you're going to be getting a pretty good amount of damage for it. So, yeah. Now we'll go into the down forward kick. This is essentially Kami's Spiral Arrow. If you guys are Street Fighter fans, you know well enough about what this looks like. But yeah, the heavy version, or the light version, excuse me, pretty straightforward. Medium version is going to be a side switch if you are close enough to the opponent, as you can see there. And even on block, I believe you still get to the other side. The heavy version is just going to be simple 2 hits. This is actually safer on block, and it's quick. But again, the cost is really for the recoverable damage that you would need to get back. So, yeah. And in terms of the linker, pretty much looks like this. And bam. And you can follow up with a combo here. I don't really know too much of Mira to kind of show you guys anything special here. You could do something like that, which is kind of cool, right? So, yeah. That's the basis of down forward punch, or down forward kick, excuse me. And down back kick is probably going to be the most important special move that you should know, especially when you're super happy on like spamming the moves that will essentially hurt you. So bite is down back kick. So the light version is just quick. If they're close enough, bam. Instant grab. It is unblockable, but again, they're not going to take any damage for it. The medium punch, or medium kick version of it, is going to be an anti-air. So they jump, You can catch them off guard, get a quick bite, and recover some health back. And as for the heavy version, does a lunge, and bam, you'll just be able to get some more health by doing that as well. And the shadow version is no different. But yeah, it is important to know that for the shadow version of this, it will go through projectiles. So that is important to know. But this version, or even the heavy version, will unfortunately not go through projectiles. So you just gotta know your placement and find your way around, like projectiles, for example. I mean, shoot, when you have a girl that can jump, air dash, and do things like that, it's pretty nuts. So yeah. And her linker, she could actually use the bite as a linker. It's not going to give you the most health, but it will give you a pretty decent chunk for it. So that is something that you could also use as an alternative to get your health back. But yeah. And aside from that, that's pretty much all her special moves, aside from all 3 punches and a directional input. So whether you want to stay in place, you can press forward, backward, upward. Use it as again, like a mix-up option. It's pretty wild, like the possibilities that she has with that move alone. And it gets even crazier during her instinct. So there are some things that she can do. For one, if you press, or every 3 seconds, she will summon a bat automatically. And it'll just deal a little bit of damage. It won't do anything like too crazy. But yeah. That's something you're going to do immediately on activation. Another thing that you can do is that if you press both heavy buttons, so essentially if you press instinct again, you're going to summon this little like cloud that just deals potential damage over time. As you can see by Fulgor's health bar right there. It is important to be able to do that as well. But one of the other things that she can do, she can dash as many times as she wants on instinct mode. If you have a quick enough finger, you could just like fly around the map and just go ham with it. It is pretty fun to do, and again, like, you got a ton of possibilities to do, whether you're trying to get up close in people's faces or trying to stay away as much as possible. Especially if you're trying to zone people out. You know, you got the bats, you got this here. Look at that. All that in itself, although not really damaging, you're still trying to keep them away from you. So yeah, man, that is basically the gist of it with Mira. It doesn't feel like a lot to learn with her. But again, like, a lot of the gimmicks really just comes from being able to just kind of like limit yourself with getting crazy with heavies and mediums. Knowing when to bite and things like that, because that will be very important to know. And overall, just getting in people's faces, catching them off guard with mix-up attacks, and overall just dealing incredible amount of damage. As so yeah, man, that is basically the gist of it with Mira. Hopefully, again, this is kind of easier for you guys to understand, and hopefully you guys learned a little bit more of how to play against Mira, for example, for those that kind of watch these videos for that very reason. But yeah, that's gonna do it for Mira this week, guys. Tune in next week, where we're gonna be diving into the big bad boss, Gargos. But in the meantime, this is Unknown 003 signing out. Thank you guys very much for watching, and I'll see y'all next time. Fight on, everyone.
You look drained.
I am.
Have you confessed your sins? Have you confessed your sins? Your life, my plaything.
Supreme